Hey guys, welcome to a brand new video. This is my first FM19 preview video that I plan to do, where I'll be basically telling you guys my thoughts about the game and maybe giving you some suggestions of which teams to manage and also my own personal plans for the game. I'm Joe. If you're new around here, make sure you do subscribe for daily Football Manager 2019 content when it comes out in about a week's time. But this particular video, as you can see by what's above us and obviously the title of the video, we're going to be looking at who to manage on Football Manager 2019. Now, I've picked out 5 teams that I think would make a good save. I've picked one from each of the leagues in England down to the National League, and I'll give you a few reasons why I think they would be good to start your Football Manager 2019 save with. But first of all, we have an honourable mention, which is of course Manchester United. Now, a lot of people are going to go for this anyway because a lot of people support Man United, but I think just with the situation at United at the moment with Jose Mourinho, you know, maybe by the time this video comes out he's been sacked, or you know, he will be by the time you're watching this. So I think that would be a really good project to sort of get your teeth stuck into. You know, try and get the players on your side with the dynamics, and try and actually make that really talented Man United side into a contender for the Premier League title, which they haven't been for, you know, 5-6 years now, which, you know, is scary considering how many Premier League titles Man United have won. But I just thought I'd mention that one. I know a lot of people will be doing that anyway, but I think that will be an interesting save. But my first recommendation for the Premier League is Newcastle United. Now, a very similar scenario to Manchester United. You know, they're underperforming this season. At the time of recording, they've only had 2 points from their opening 8 games. Now, it will be a struggle. You know, the board aren't going to give you money if you manage Newcastle United, but they have got some talented players in there, and it might be one where you're going to have to look for the bargains in the market and maybe try and develop some young players and keep the Magpies afloat the first couple of years of your save, and then try and push on into that top 10, get a little bit of money from sort of the European competitions and cup runs and what have you, and maybe sell a couple of the young players that you've developed. And I think that'll be a really good save. You know, 52,000 seater stadium that's packed out every week. Newcastle have one of the biggest potentials for a team that, if you can get them going, you know, you could get them back to the glory days of the 90s and the early 2000s, where they were genuine title contenders. Some of you might be a bit too young to remember that, but they were one time. But yeah, Newcastle is my recommendation for a Premier League save. Into the Championship then, and Aston Villa has suddenly emerged as one that's going to be a very good save. Obviously, Steve Bruce has recently been sacked there, and they were taken over in the summer by owners with money, shall we say. And obviously Aston Villa, a huge club that have sort of got stuck in the Championship, much like many teams in the past, the likes of Leeds, the likes of you know, Charlton Athletic, Nottingham Forest, Middlesbrough. You know, they've all sort of been stuck in the Championship for quite a while, and you know, they've been established Premier League sides in the past. Some of them have even won, you know, European Cups and stuff, and Aston Villa are one of those teams, and they're sort of stuck in the Championship at the minute. So I think that would be a good one, and to sort of take out of the Championship and build them back to maybe where they were, you know, 10 years ago under Martin O'Neill, where they were genuinely competing to get into the Champions League places. And I think that'll be a really good save. They've got some good young players as well, and the Championship is always a good place to start in Football Manager. It's such an open league, anybody can win the Championship. There's a few other teams in there, you know, the likes of Sheffield United, Leeds United, Nottingham Forest, as I've mentioned, you know, even the likes of West Brom and Swansea and Stoke could be really good saves. Blackburn, you know, to name but a few. I think anybody you pick in the Championship will will be a really good save. But my particular pick for that division is Aston Villa for the reasons I've stated above. Down to League One then, and another local team to me. I promise I'm not just doing the local teams, but I think Sunderland would be a good save from League One. Obviously, they've had 2 consecutive relegations, and they're doing all right in League One this season. They haven't walked it as many would expect them to probably do, but they're up in the playoffs positions. They've got some really good young players, and obviously a 49,000-seater stadium, you know. If there's anywhere that's got potential down in League One, it's Sunderland, you know, and it's basically a blank slate. You know, you're starting down in League One. It should be fairly easy for you to get into the playoffs, or if not promoted in your first season, and you can, you know, really build something. I did a save with Sunderland a couple of years ago when they were still in the Premier League, and within 3 years I'd managed to win the Europa League. You know, they have got good infrastructure. You've just got to manage the personalities in there. Get rid of the dead wood, which Sunderland seem to have done, and you know, they've got some good young players. Pick up some other young ones on loan, or from the championship or whatever, and really build something with Sunderland. And I think within 5-6 years you could be top half of the table in the Premier League if you had your wits about you. But I think that would be a good little project, and quite a nice one to get into. You'd probably get a little bit of time with Sunderland to succeed. So I think that would be a good one. Down into League Two now, I actually quite struggled to pick a team from this one. There's a lot of sort of good teams in League Two, and they're all pretty much with the same story, but I picked Lincoln simply because there's another FM YouTuber that did them last year, Tom FM, who I believe is a Lincoln supporter as well, and he led them all the way at the Premier League. And you know, it would be a great story if you could do something similar. You know, they win the conference a couple of years ago, and they're a team that are going strength to strength. You know, the likes of Forest Green Rovers are in that division as well, and you could do something similar with them. But getting Lincoln into League One would be a great achievement. They're top of the league at the minute, so they've obviously got some good players, and I think they would be an enjoyable save. You know, certainly somebody to start out with, maybe push them into League One, and then look for a championship job if you're doing a little bit of a journeyman save. But definitely a good little choice, that one. And finally, we'll look at the National League, and I have picked Salford. Now, I know a lot of people will pick Salford. You know, they've obviously got some money. Dr. Benji made them famous a few years ago. And they've signed Adam Rooney, you know, a really top-class striker from the SPL, or Scottish Premiership, I think it's called now. But you know, Adam Rooney will score a load of goals for you down in the conference, or the National League, should I say. And I think he'll do a really good job down there, and I think it is a good project. You know, Salford have obviously got the owners of the 5 Man United class of 92 people, and I think that would be a cracking save, and you should get promoted in the first season, you know, with a striker as capable as Adam Rooney. But if he gets injured, then you've got to think outside the box a little bit, and hopefully you can solidify them as a football league club, and maybe push them up the leagues. You know, I see them being in League One in a few years' time, and I think that'll be a really realistic goal early on in Football Manager. To have a go. But yeah, those are my suggestions on who you should manage in Football Manager 2019. I know maybe not all of them were particularly original, but I've hopefully give you some ideas of who you might want to manage in FM19 in a couple of weeks. Let me know down in the comments who you're going to manage, and also let me know who your recommendations are on who to manage. And if we get enough suggestions and really good ones, and maybe ones that I've missed that I should have probably said, then we might make a part 2 of this. But if you have enjoyed this and found it helpful, then make sure you do leave a like down below. It does help me get these videos out there, and it'll hopefully help people see me FM19 content as well, which would be really appreciated. Subscribe for daily FM19 content, and remember to let me know your recommendations down below in the comments. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.